You've mastered the art of being a doctor on television.
I worked with Cheyenne Bryant on a TV show for about 6 months last year.
I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV.
And we got into a massive intellectual argument that came up through multiple episodes of the show. And that told me a lot. Basically, I totally saw this coming.
I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV.
The first time I talked with her, she told me she had 3 degrees. And I said, what schools did she go to?
Yes, everyone. We are back, as you can see, on Dr. Cheyenne Bryant's neck. Now, this is Touré, of course. You saw the video a couple of days ago where they were on a panel show, and him and Dr. Cheyenne Bryant were having a back and forth, and it culminated in Dr. Cheyenne Bryant telling Touré to shut the F up.
Shut the fuck up talking to me like that. That's what you do.
Now, of course, they had been having a disagreement over several shows about child raising and other issues they had been talking about on the show. And well, we don't believe that Dr. Cheyenne Bryant is a doctor, to be honest with you. That's the whole bit about this whole thing. But the panel show that Touré was on with Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, where he got disrespected, sparked this video right here. And the title of this video by Touré on his channel on YouTube is called Why Cheyenne Bryant Won't Admit She's Not a Doctor.
I've earned the title. I have multiple degrees, and I'm not going to prove anything to anybody. And we're going to leave it just as that.
We're going to get into this reaction. Of course, before I do, if you haven't done so already, hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. And if you want to further contribute to the channel, hit that join button down below to become a member of the Working Man Union. Hit that hype button to help me out in the algorithm, the great YouTube algorithm. And of course, hit the Cashapp, $, Mr. Normie. So let's listen to Touré tear into Dr. Cheyenne Bryant.
A lot of people are saying stuff like that. What school did she go to? Did she actually finish a doctorate? Did she actually write a dissertation? All of these simple questions were answered in a convoluted way during a press tour from hell that is damaging her image, one bad answer after another. This is probably the worst press tour of all time.
I played a doctor on television.
The problem with playing a doctor on TV and acting like that means you're a real doctor is that people think you're giving them help from a place of deep education, and you're not. Maybe you can actually be helpful for real for some people some of the time, but there's lots of therapists who've gone through the academy, the whole academy, and can easily prove that, who are deeply, deeply trained on how to help people who are in complicated situations.
And that is one of the reasons why you have seen a lot of therapists, and to be honest, specifically Black female therapists and other female therapists coming out against Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, because this is something that is important. I hate to say it, but for women, there are a lot of women out there that are educated, okay? Of course, they, tout and brag about their degrees and things like that. And because of this, Dr. Cheyenne Bryant has brought shame, in my opinion, on education or the people's doctorates, because there are women out there that have actually gone through the process of getting their doctorate. They have the dissertation, they have the transcripts, they have the pictures in cap and gown. They're able to prove that they went to a school. And so for someone like Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, which is using her platform to gain not only influence, but popularity and fame and money off of the fact that she's a doctor, when she can't prove at all, almost, no pictures, no transcripts, no dissertations, nothing. Just her word alone that I'm a doctor, right? It's not good enough, okay? And so it has the social media world in a complete tizzy, especially with educated women, because she's bringing shame on the doctorate, the doctor title, because there are other people that have actually gone through it. And yeah, it's actually shameful.
I'm not a real doctor, but I play one on TV. But I can probably be a little helpful. You're dealing with something.
And they are licensed so that the world can know you can trust this person.
I'm surprised by this Cheyenne Bryant controversy because I never thought she had a PhD. Like, never. Something about her always gave honorary doctorate at best.
So when the press tour from hell took her to the mighty Joe Budden podcast, the trouble started.
Really, the trouble started when she took that picture at the Jeezy concert. Now, people gave her a lot of flack for that, but that was one of the things that put her on the radar. She was already going on tonight's conversation. She had been on Nick Cannon. She had been on I believe Cam Newton once or twice because she was talking about how he was raising how he was, messing up, black families and things like that because he had multiple children. And so she was already on the radar. But then she took that picture at the Jeezy concert and everybody was like, I thought she was a doctor, but she's dressed like a 304. And they was like, okay, And then she went on the Joe Budden podcast and she was talking about the whole license thing and, how she was operating like this because she could help more. And that was BS to a lot of people. Then the Breakfast Club thing happened where she was basically doubling down saying, F y'all.
I don't give a what your narrative is. I would like for you to recreate it, double down on it, and run that.
And she gave this weird, crazy, fugazi explanation about how she couldn't get her degree or her dissertation. And then she went on with Marissa on Fox 5 DC and quadruple down on it. Then people were like, oh, hell no, wait a minute. Nah, only God can judge me bullshit. Yes.
She explained that she was not licensed as a
Oh, by the way, and then when she allowed Umar Johnson to co-sign her BS, that's what really was like, oh no, you done here.
therapist anymore. And she did this in a very haughty tone, as though we were the dummies and she had to educate us. She made it sound like we had not been actively listening, and that was the problem. It was so condescending. She made it seem like being licensed had been holding her back somehow, and being unlicensed had freed her to be the best life coach and psychology expert possible. I don't know what a psychology expert is. That led to a wild storm online. Practically all of the Black licensed therapists on TikTok jumped up to explain that she's talking nonsense.
I saw that. Did you say that? All of the doctors and people of high educational status was dunking on Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. Like, how you can't get your degree? How you can't get your transcripts? You don't have a dissertation? Do you even have a picture of a cap and gown? And then she told that they looked at Cheyenne Bryant's picture where she had all her certification, whatever in the background. It was like, I don't see a degree, a doctorate back there either. What the hell is going on? Man, and then all kind of other stuff that came out about her. It's crazy work.
You need licensure.
Hello, my name is Dr. Raquel Martin. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist, professor of sciences, and podcast host who specializes in Black health and well-being. And I want to break down a clip from the Joe Budden podcast featuring someone who presents herself as Dr. Cheyenne Bryant.
A license is really only needed so you can bill insurance.
That is incredibly misleading. Yes, you do need a license.
That was one of the things that said people, I don't need a license to what? I was like, oh, no. And then she came out, then other people came out.
Bill insurance, but that is not why licensure exists. Licensure protects you. It means I have completed specific education and supervised clinical hours, passed rigorous exams, and I'm accountable to a regulatory board.
So after the Joe Budden podcast, the press tour from hell took Cheyenne to the Breakfast Club, where she made it worse. They asked her basically, hey girl, where's your dissertation? She went into a long, roundabout, convoluted non-planation of why she can't get her transcript. That sounded a lot like a digital version of The Dog Ate My Homework.
The conversation about your doctorate because people can't find your dissertation online.
It's very simple. I went to a school, Argosy University, completed an entire program. I went back online to get my official transcripts because I was applying to a law school many years ago to be a professor there. And I had to provide my transcripts, right, to get hired. And I went to contact the school and say, hey, I need my official transcripts. I need my entire thing. And there was no school. I was like, okay, I'm confused. I Googled.
Yo, you see the questions upon her? She didn't know it was closed. She was gonna go to law school without she was gonna go to law school without any type of prior, training or knowledge. It's like, so you didn't know the school was closed? I mean, you didn't know that? And let's keep going.
It says this school has been shut down. I said, oh, well, they got to have records. I mean, they were accredited when I attended the school. They were accredited when I finished the program. I go and look, there is a third party that has the records. Where I contact the third party, that third party only holds records for 2 years. I was past my 2 years.
There are several people that have gone. There are several people that I've seen online that have attended Argosy University that have sent screenshots, that posted screenshots and videos where they went on to third-party websites or other places and got their transcripts and degrees. It makes it like she's lying. Allegedly, because I don't know, I didn't go to that university, but a lot of people with the proof they've given, she's lying.
That means that I had no access to records. And then I contacted
Let's read that. All records and transcripts are still accessible on all our online. Oh, man. Any degrees that have been conferred to actual graduates are also still available for the record. Where is the failure? Man, that is an L for Dr. Cheyenne Bryant right there.
Financial aid. You can't make up financial aid. It shows that I paid for a doctoral program alongside my master's program and my undergrad program. And they said, we can fully refund you your money under one circumstance. We give you your money back. You don't get credit for not a class, a course, a program you took in this university.
Now, that was complete bullshit. So you mean to tell me that we give you your money back for your degree program, but we're going to erase all of the history that you took classes or that you completed this degree program? Who does that? So you mean to tell me they gave you that kind of deal? You know what? You can get your money back. We're going to pretty much delete your doctorate degree. Okay.
At this institute. So do you want us to refund you? Or do you want us not? I said no, because I didn't want to risk the chance of them saying, well, we're going to give you back your money, and it wipes out your entire program.
So you're basically saying I cannot get proof because, for one, the school is closed. The school is gone now, and they won't let me get my transcripts, or the third party's jacked up, and I get my money back, but that's going to delete it. So I'm between a rock and a hard place, so I can't get it, and you just kind of trust me, right?
I had, I do this with all of the schools. I had downloaded from the actual student portal my transcripts at that time, and I was able to get just about all of my transcripts, including up to dissertation.
Up to the dissertation. So meaning she was able to get her transcripts all the way up until before she actually graduated the school. So again, she has proof that she attended the school, but not proof that she graduated with a doctorate. Okay.
But everything else, there's just no holding take for any of our records, which I think is completely effed up.
They are going to kill you online this week. They're going to say she has no records.
It's not even that there's no records that I don't. The school had a third party that carried the records only for a limit of 2 years. So it's not me. It's any student that attended Argosy.
Other people have pointed out that you can still get a transcript from her college that closed right now today.
I asked Google to get your records from the closed Argosy University. You should order transcripts and diplomas online through Parchment, right? So now Parchment is the third-party company that she's speaking on. How long does Parchment hold on to transcripts from Argosy University? Parchment generally maintains access to digital records for closed institutions like Argosy University, often holding them for decades or indefinitely.
Today, May the 13th, 2026, I went ahead and I paid to see if I could get my transcript and how long it would take. I received a receipt. Then it says access transcripts.
Now, if you look this up, I think his name says Galdivas, the algorithm. If you go on, I assume this is TikTok, I believe, maybe. He shows the full video where he went on there. He shows the receipt where he actually paid for his transcripts and received them. And I believe he shows his actual transcripts. So there are people, not just him, but other people that are providing proof that you indeed can get your transcripts from the third party website that has her college information on it. She's lying.
Access to his transcripts within minutes.
Many
allegedly
people have pointed that out.
As someone that holds the degree from the university that Miss Bryant reports herself to have, I have several questions and several points of clarification that will be made. The first is that the degree that she is speaking to is a Doctor of Education in Counseling Psychology from Argosy University. Parchment now holds all of the documentation from every student that attended that university, so she has access to her transcripts indefinitely. When you obtain a doctorate, people like to verify your credentials and verify that you obtained that degree. Moreover, you had to have completed a dissertation. I know because I did it for that degree. There are things that you should know off the top of your head, like what the title of your dissertation is. Mine is the Alabama K-CREP and non-K-CREP Counselor Education Graduate Students Readiness to Counsel Substance Use Disorder Clients. What is yours? Who's your dissertation chair? Mine was Dr. David Arena. I had one reader. You should have access to your dissertation, even if you don't have the full one, which is odd because they send you that too. You should have each chapter broken down because you send it in chapters. So where is it? And why are you unwilling to provide that information? Your clients deserve verification of your credentials. It is a part of our ethical compass and codes to do so. Not just with licensure, with any credentials that you use. The ACA 2014 ethical codes and standards require that any credential that you use needs to be backed up and verified and verifiable to all related boards and most especially to the client seeking your services. So the fact that you aren't willing to do that is problematic, it's disrespectful to the profession, it's disrespectful to your purported colleagues, and most detrimentally to your clients.
I told you, boy, people are coming out in droves like, man, you are bringing shame to our profession. You're bringing shame to our doctorate degree. Even the school, even though it was closed, like we went to the school and we got these doctorates. We got the dissertations. We remember what we wrote. We remember the chapters. Remember who wrote our stuff, who read our dissertations. We can get access to them at any point. We have copies of them for ourselves. Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, what is going on? And not only do you not have, you say you're not having it, but now you're just doubling down and saying, you know what, F y'all, what'd you say? Only God can judge me, you know, I'm accountable to the Lord, no one else. You know, that kind of mess is like complete deflections.
Please stop using them until you are willing to verify. Thank you.
So she's lying about being unable to get her transcripts. Within the long, winding story about being unable to get her transcripts, she said she had done it to apply to work at a law school. But she's never even claimed to have a law degree, so how are you going to teach at a law school with no law? But the question was not about transcripts, a record of the classes she took. It was about her dissertation, the big paper you write at the end that is the culmination of your academic career. If she had done a dissertation, she would be able to pull it up out of her computer, or it would be online already. It's not believable that you
wrote the dissertation, right? It's just like a Word document, like you do an essay or something at a regular like college course. You would have a copy of it, right? Because you had to turn in one, but you would have your own for your own records, right? So you mean to tell me you don't have your dissertation, even if you don't have the one that was graded, you know, by the institution, you have your own that you drafted up, right? I guess not, because she's not even telling what her dissertation, the name of her dissertation. I mean, you don't remember that?
Wrote a dissertation and now have no copies of it anywhere in the world and no way to access it. If you can't show it, if you can't prove you have a doctorate, if you can't provide any evidence, then maybe you should stop saying you have it.
The art of being a doctor on television.
How can you even imagine someone who did...
By the way, you see the ongoing theme here in the video, the I'm not a doctor, but I played one on TV, is diabolical.
All that work and has no receipts. And when someone asks you for receipts, you refuse to. This was the thrust of her next interview on the press tour from hell, because Marissa Mitchell in DC did not come to play.
Why not provide the proof of your degree? Why not?
Well, a couple of things, right? I have multiple degrees, and my thing is that my proof isn't something that I have to prove to individuals. My proof is already within my credentials, my degrees, and also more than just my titles, it's in how effective I've been. All of my sessions have been live, for the most part. My sessions with Nick Cannon, Cam Newton, Shannon Sharp, B. Simone.
By the way, and I said this in the last video, I did a reaction to this. She said that my proof is in all of my sessions. Then she started naming all the interviews she's been on, Nick Cannon, Cam Newton, Shannon Sharp. So were these interviews some type of counseling or coaching sessions, or were they just interviews? These interviews that you have these people are not proof that you are doing any type of clinical or psychological work. You had an interview, they start talking about their personal life issues and dynamics, and then what you do, you start trying to psychologize them in an interview. That is not work. That is an interview, and you're giving, I guess, your opinion on how they live their life. Is that work? I don't think so.
Bitch, ain't no way. Ain't no fucking way.
They have all been for the world to see, right? So no one knew who Dr. Bryant was prior to seeing all of my sessions that were live. And they deemed it, as well as I did before they did it, they can't validate me, I validated myself, they deemed it as my work being effective. I'm effective at what I do. I'm educated and I'm successful in my lane, and I land on this, I created my own lane. And so a lot of times, Marissa, when people see that you created something that maybe they couldn't, admiration turns into envy.
Paging Dr. Umar, because This is the same type of language and rhetoric he uses against his quote unquote detractors and YouTubians and struggle streamers. They're just jealous because they don't have the same stature. They're just jealous because they're not the most requested scholar. They're just jealous because they're not 6'3" with a North Philly beard. All that bull crap.
Gotta be okay.
And you got to be okay with that in
as
that
an
space.
attack. But I think, and I've gotten this question from many viewers, and I owe it to them.
You
in
do.
Service to
Absolutely.
them. Why not drop doctor from your name? If you
And you know what? Low key, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that Dr. Cheyenne Bryant got a little heat in this one at the end when she was like, pretty much period and all that kind of stuff. When Marissa kept pushing back on Dr. Cheyenne, she was getting a little ticked off on this interview right here.
not bring forth that.
Because this came right after the Breakfast Club interview, and I believe Cheyenne Bryant was done explaining herself.
So I've already covered this, right? And we're here obviously to talk about my new book. So I've earned the title. I have multiple degrees, and I'm not going to prove anything to anybody. And we're going to leave it just as that. Yeah.
Dr. Cheyenne Bryant.
Baby, Dr. Cheyenne Bryant.
And that's what, and you're standing by that.
Standing by it. Yeah, because I earned it. Absolutely.
The real answer to the question, why doesn't she just back down? Why doesn't she say she's not really a doctor? The real answer is this. Cheyenne is all about doubling down. It's central to her personality. She told me she never backs down. She always doubles down. And Stephen A. Smith was one of her broadcasting idols. From him, she learned never backtrack, only double down, no matter what. It sounds tough, but what it means is you have an opinion, you got information that contradicted your opinion or part of it, information that should make you rethink your opinion or part of it, but you refuse to change your opinion. And you're actually increasing your investment in it in spite of the countervailing information. When Stephen A. does it in a sports context, it's like, I picked the Lakers to win this series, but they're down 0-2, but I'm doubling down. I still believe. When a family and marriage therapist or a psychology expert, whatever that means, says they're doubling down, it means they're rejecting new information, new research, new knowledge. So when you say, it looks like you're not a doctor, she says, I'm doubling down on the fact that I am a doctor.
Yes, that's exactly what's happening. You know what? Everybody's saying, well, I mean, all the evidence is pointing to you're not a doctor. You can't prove it at all. You've given, I would say at best, lame excuses, at worst, complete lies, allegedly. And other people have come out that went to the same school you went to, that used the same third-party website that you claim you use, and got exactly what you said you can't get. Just saying, if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's not a pig.
An actual doctor would respond to the question with evidence. The Academy teaches you to be evidence-based and to look for and present evidence. That would be the way to address the question. But she's saying, no, I don't need to give you evidence because
my proof isn't something that I have to prove to individuals.
And that sounds shady. Who refuses to give evidence? People who think giving the evidence would be worse than being attacked for not giving the evidence.
Bingo! That's it right there. That giving the evidence would be worse than being attacked for not having the evidence. You know why? Because giving the evidence means that you would either A, be wrong, or 2, flat out lying. So just continue to double down on what you believe, okay? Or what you know, your whatever square you're on, just double down on that, and you can just continue with that because, you know, what they say in the Boondocks, evidence of absence, not absence, absence of evidence, not evidence of absence, something like that, right? You know, like.
But I always say the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
What?
Simply because you don't have evidence that something does exist does not mean that you have evidence that something doesn't exist.
What?
They can't speak on what they can't prove, right? So if I just keep doubling down, you don't have to prove to discredit. You don't have the proof to say I'm actually lying, right? You can't say I'm actually lying because there's absence of evidence here, right? So I win, right? At least for now.
It's kind of like Trump with the Epstein files. What he's dealing with now, the verbal attacks because he won't release the files, the unending questions, all of that is better than actually releasing the real files and letting people discover what he really did. For him, appearing to be caught in a lie is better than us knowing the truth. That's where Cheyenne is. Appearing to be lying about something like this is better than being unmasked as not a doctor at all.
She has only financial aid documents showing she paid for a doctoral program. And if you listen carefully, the word doctoral in this conversation becomes a sticking point because she can't even pronounce the word. She pronounces it doctorial.
I paid for a doctoral program.
One would say that if you can't even pronounce the word, who is going to believe that you actually have completed a doctoral program? What she wants you to believe is that she's a victim of a corrupt institution, conveniently, not someone who made up whole cloth that she has a degree that she hasn't completed.
I paid for a doctoral program.
Let me tell you my Cheyenne story. For several months last year, we did a 4-person talk show where she and I were the lead voices. I tried to get clips of it, but the third party that holds the records only holds on to old videos for 2 years. So on the show, we kept coming back to the same intellectual argument. All of this was on the show, on the air. I'm not talking about anything behind the scenes. For me, at the core of this intellectual argument was what y'all have been saying through this press tour from hell. Is she really an academic? Is she really a doctor? See,
and you know what? The way Dr. Cheyenne Bryant acts, the way that, and I hate to catch him like this pose, but the way she, went off on Touré during that, the end of that show is like a doctor wouldn't act that way. Yes. Did Touré put you on the spot? Yes. Did he maybe, kind of raise up on you a little bit? Yes. But the way you reacted to it was over the top. You was cursing him out. You was calling him feminine and soft and all this kind of stuff. Talk to your wife that way, not me, insulting him and using, the rainbow to insult him, things like that. Called him soft. You basically was down to call him, the G word. And it's like, would an intellectual respond to a situation like that? Or would they, try to de-escalate it, but still stand their ground at the same time? She went full gangster on him, went full ghetto mode on him like that. That's not how a doctor acts, right? Even though when she was on the Joe Budden podcast, she kept talking about, well, why can't I be like this and be a doctor at the same time? And Joe Budden's argument was, well, you're a doctor, right? Whatever you are, that's what you present all the time. It's like when I was in the service, I was in the Army. They said you're a soldier 24/7. I represent the organization, the unit, whatever, no matter where I go, whether I'm on duty or off duty. Okay, so I can't, you're a doctor, but you're wearing see-through stuff for the Jeezy concerts. Like, okay, are you a doctor? Because you're presenting yourself like a 304, but that's just me.
I'm a parent of 2 teenagers, and I believe, because I have read and researched a lot on the subject, I believe parents should not hit children as punishment. There should be no corporal punishment in the home. I know that's triggering to a lot of people who are not child psychologists, but every major child psychologist today says it is definitely harmful to children.
That was his argument at the end of the show. And him and Dr. Cheyenne Bryant have been going back and forth about that for a few shows, Ron, right? Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, who is a doctor, says that they should be corporal punishment because that helps bring consequences and things like that. And I'm an old school parent, so I believe that too, though. I'm trying to get out of that, you know what I mean? But it's still in me. I'm not going to lie. But Touré's like saying, we don't need that. We need reinforcement, yes, but not physically. And there are a lot of studies that prove that it's not that corporal punishment is not necessary. Okay, and so, yeah.
Say, I hit my child to teach him. That's not how the brain works. A child cannot take in new information when they're in survival mode because all that oxygenated blood goes to the muscles to do all that fight or flight mode work. They're not hearing you. They're not processing information. They're trying to survive the moment.
Does spanking actually work? No. And this is really important for people to know is
now, parents, how you get around that is you do it anyway, give them the spanking, and then when they calm down, you come back to them after everything's calmed down, they're done crying and, in that fight or flight mode, they're done, squirming and all that stuff. And, come back an hour later and say, hey, son, hey, baby, hey, daughter. The reason why I did is because, you went to give that piece of candy when I told you not to, right? And I told you that like 6 times and you still disobeyed me, and I gave it a pass the last 2 times you did it, but I couldn't do that today. All right? So next time, if you do it, this is what happens, right? Okay, Dad. Gotcha.
Wait a minute.
is clear on this. And no child development researcher would ever tell you that spanking is a good idea at this point. No child development researcher would ever tell you that spanking is a good idea.
The first time I said on the show that there should be no corporal punishment for children, I assumed that Cheyenne would, of course, co-sign that because she's a family and marriage therapist, or so I thought she was. She claims to have a master's in family and child therapy. Surely someone who's studied this deep in this field would agree with the major child psychologists of today. No, she said, and I quote, that gentle parenting stuff doesn't work. Wow. I was blown away that a person with a master's in child therapy and family therapy would seriously advocate for corporal punishment. The topic came up repeatedly, like every other show, and every time I said corporal punishment is wrong, and that's an opinion built on consuming modern child psychology. And every time she would say that gentle parenting stuff doesn't work.
Now, Touré is a father of 2 children. And though he's not a family therapist or anything like that, he has taken in, he says, to his words, he's taken in studies and information from people that are family, and child, psychiatrists and therapists and things like that. And so the evidence that he's researched, which is out there for public consumption, does back up that theory. Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, who deals in marriages and family issues and things like that, you think she would also be armed with this information, but no. She says it doesn't work. When I heard that, I was myself too. I was like, wow.
I was blown away by her opinion and by how she expressed herself. That gentle parenting stuff doesn't work.
There's studies that also show, do your research, that gentle parenting is not working.
Is not how an intellectual talks. That's anti-intellectual. You're dismissing and denigrating and looking down on violence-free parenting. Shouldn't you, an advocate for talk therapy of all people, be advocating for talking solutions rather than violent solutions? A real academic would not say things like, that gentle parenting stuff doesn't work. They might somehow outline a perspective explaining why violence is sometimes acceptable in parenting, which is a laughable concept, but there is a way to express that idea that fits with the way people who come out of the academy tend to talk.
I agree. The way she explained it even just sounded fugazi, right? Like she didn't explain it in any kind of intellectual way. She just pretty much was like one of the boys. Like, that gentle parenting stuff doesn't work. Like, I mean, you don't even talk like a doctor. Like,
that gentle parenting stuff doesn't work is not how an intellectual would talk. Certainly not one who's in the family and child psychology field. I appreciate all of those who are saying, girl, where are your official credentials? That matters. But also, usually, we can hear your credentials when you talk.
Thank you. When you talk, you speak with intelligence. When you talk, you speak with intelligence. You use big words that I have to Google to figure out what it means and things like that, right? You talk over people's heads because they don't even understand what you're saying, because they don't understand the words that you're using, because they haven't even seen the stuff in the dictionary yet. The words that you're using have deep meanings and they cut to the point, right? But again, her language is like somebody, like a regular woman on the street. It's not of an intellectual, it's of a normie like me.
When I talk to my friends, Dr. Mark Lamont Hill, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, Dr. Melissa Harris Perry, Dr. Cornell West, I don't have to ask what school they went to. I can hear the academy tumbling out of their mouths. I can hear it in their perspective and in the way they express themselves. When she talked, I couldn't hear advanced degrees. So now that people are saying, hey girl, where did you go to school? Are you actually a doctor? I'm like, I get it. She plays a doctor on TV.
You've mastered the art of being a doctor on television.
So I've earned the title, I have multiple degrees, and I'm not going to prove anything to anybody.
Thank you for watching. Please.
Yo, thank you for watching if you're still here. Thank you, man. God dog. But yo, I don't think Touré told one lie in this video, okay? Dr. Cheyenne Bryant has not proved that she's a doctor. I'm not going to be the one to say that she's lying completely because I don't want to get sued. That's why I say allegedly. But all signs point to either A, she's hiding something that she doesn't want you to know, or B, she's flat out lying about the fact that she's a doctor, allegedly. All right? I don't know which one, but her refusal to flat out prove it is alarming. Okay, now just keep it right there. And with that being said, thank you for taking another episode of the Working Man Podcast. I am your host, Nicholas J. Fury. We're going to put a pin in this Dr. Cheyenne Bryant mess unless something else comes up that's bigger than this. I think Touré said it quite flat after his disrespect that she gave to him. Is Dr. Cheyenne Bryant a doctor? We may never know. Let me know down in the comment section. And please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and the notification bell. We're out of the door, and I will see you on the next video.